Hey, what's up everybody? Kevin here from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel, and today we're going to be doing a band review on one of the most influential bands of this millennium, Linkin Park. Alright, so just a quick rundown of how we do these videos again, just so you're aware. Part 1 is the origin story, or how I found out about the band, how I started listening to the band. I'll go into the backstory, maybe go into a little bit more of the story. We'll see what happens, but that's part 1. Second, I'm going to be going over what I like about the band, whether it be their music, their style, their songs, or just what they have as a whole. Part 3, I'm going to go over what I dislike about the band, what I think they lack, what I think their faults are, or just any general thing where I'm like, not a big fan of that. Fourth, I'm going to go over what my favorite Linkin Park song is. I'm going to tell you why I think it's better than the others. Last, I'm going to be giving the band a rating from a scale of 0 to 10. Of course, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best, and I'll give you my reasons why I gave that band that rating. Alrighty, that's it. Let's get started, and away we go! Alrighty, so the story of how I began to like Linkin Park and start listening to them really starts in high school. However, I have to go back to middle school for the exact origin, because even though my musical taste started really evolving in high school, middle school is where I first heard of the band. And at this time, I was a huge Disturbed fan. However, back at the end of 2008, there was a website online that put all these music videos together and put them in a bracket-style tournament to figure out which one was the best, on one side being pop, on one side being rock and metal. Naturally, I stuck towards the rock and metal side, and Disturbed's Inside the Fire was going up against Linkin Park's music video for Given Up. Naturally, because there was a band that was going up against Disturbed, I wanted to see what Linkin Park was about and listen to their sound, see what was going on. Now, yes, I did vote for Inside the Fire by Disturbed, my beloved Disturbed at that time. However, after listening to Given Up, there was one thing about Linkin Park I could not forget and not get out of my head: Chester Bennington's voice. Now let's fast forward to where I really began to listen to Linkin Park in high school as my musical taste began to evolve. I listened to Faint hard, all the time. After I started listening to Faint, all of a sudden I really got into Hybrid Theory. After Hybrid Theory, I was hooked. As time went on, I really listened to Hybrid Theory and Meteora a lot, along with a couple songs off of Minutes to Midnight. But then again, as time went on, I thought their sound was starting to change to a more mellow, maybe even more commercial sound. And for my musical taste, it did not really resonate with me all that well. Fast forward to 2017 when One More Light came out, and I remember people online and in person were criticizing the album hard. A little bit myself included, because it was a lot softer and a lot more somber of a tone than what I expected to hear from Linkin Park. However, little did we know, there was a much deeper meaning behind the album than any of us could have possibly imagined. Now, I remember that day very well. I was at my full-time job, and people were freaking out because at that time, O.J. Simpson had gotten parole and was being released at the beginning of October 2017. I'm at work and I wanted to check it out, so I went on a good old yahoo.com to see what was going on and see what was going on with OJ. And I remember everything was about OJ except this little blip on the radar, and I sat stunned. And people at work come around me saying, "Hey man, you shocked that OJ got out?" But they were a little confused that I was shocked and how shocked I was, because the OJ trial happened when I was a baby and I didn't know anything about it. So I still sat there shocked. Then I pointed at the screen, and all it said was Chester Bennington dead at 41, and everyone went silent, and it was just, the rest of the day was, it was a tough day. Later into 2017, depression hit me really hard for other reasons I'm not going to explain, and I really began to listen to One More Light, especially the titular track One More Light, and Heavy. And as I began to listen to them, I could really feel what was going on with Chester Bennington, and I really began to relate to them, and it turned that album around for me completely, especially knowing where it was coming from. For that reason, I have a deeper appreciation for the One More Light album, and let's be honest, the music scene is not the same without Chester Bennington in it. His voice is incredibly and truly missed. Alrighty, but enough with the sad stuff. Let's go into the best parts about the band. Alright, so let's talk about what I like about the band the most, and there are 3 things I like about the band the most. 1, their collaboration with Jay-Z. 2, Mike Shinoda's writing. And 3, and most important of all, I already said it, Chester Bennington's voice. Alright, so we're all aware of the fact that Jay-Z and Linkin Park made a mashup EP called Collision Course back around the year 2004, and if there's anything off this album that we remember, it is the collaboration of Numb Encore. Numb Encore might be the best mashup of all time, and I am not kidding you. Both Encore by Jay-Z and Numb by Linkin Park put together in that fashion, the integrity of any of those songs is not lost. The musical sounds of those songs are not lost. And they keep their meaning, but they fit together so well. It is one of the coolest things ever. If you have not listened to Numb Encore by Linkin Park and Jay-Z, what are you waiting for? Go listen to it. I did like the original song Encore by Jay-Z a lot. However, when it came to mixing it with Numb in that mashup, I thought it made the song even better. Now, you may have a different opinion than me. However, my video, my opinion. Now, on to Mike Shinoda's writing style with that rap rock feel that was used by Papa Roach and still is used by Papa Roach. However, I thought Linkin Park did a much better job using that, especially anything before those Transformers movies came out and they wrote the songs for those. You can listen to songs like In the End, Somewhere I Belong, Faint, Bleed It Out, and you can hear that rap rock style where Mike Shinoda's rapping, you hear Chester Bennington's vocals, and it mixes well together. However, you also get songs such as Crawling and Numb, and those songs kind of don't have that rap rock style, but again, with Shinoda's writing, they play really nicely and they work incredibly well. Shinoda really knows how to hit the emotions in almost all Linkin Park songs, and if you listen to a lot of the early stuff, especially off of Hybrid Theory and Meteora, I think that resonates very well, so go check it out. Last but not least, I have to talk about Chester Bennington's voice. There are very few artists and very few people that can have a voice that's that distinguishable, such as Freddie Mercury, Brian Johnson from AC/DC, Tim McElrath from Rise Against, David Draymond from Disturbed, and of course, Chester is easily on that list. There were two completely different sounds when it came to Chester Bennington's voice that were both unique and non-replicated. First, we had his raspy singing voice, and second, the screams. First off, when it comes to Chester Bennington's voice, we have to talk about the screams. Those screams are rash and raspy, but they're also very hard and very powerful. That's something that it just sits with you and you can't get out of your head. Listen to songs like One Step Closer, Crawling, Faint, and Giving Up, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a video out there on YouTube somewhere, I think I'm going to put it in the description below if I can find it, that has Chester Bennington and Linkin Park on stage with Jay-Z during their Collision Course EP tour, and they were doing 99 Problems One Step Closer mashup. You see him perform it, and you hear Chester Bennington hit those vocals for the One Step Closer Edge I'm About to Break, and he screams it, and you look at Jay-Z's face, and he's just looking stunned like, how the hell can that sound come from a person? That is insane. He is blown away by it. It's one of the coolest things you'll see. Take a look at it. Now let's talk about Chester Bennington's actual singing voice. It's very raspy, however, it really hits you in the soul because if you've ever gone through any kind of pain, you listen to those vocals and it gives that pain a voice and it lets you actually express it through Chester Bennington. It is absolutely amazing. If you want to know what I'm actually talking about, go back and listen to Numb once again. If you've already listened to it, go back and listen to it again. You can really feel that if you've ever had any sort of pain in your life. And, man, I'm going to go listen to Numb now. Okay, now let's talk about what I like about the band the least. And I think it's kind of obvious, but I think they sold out a little bit once that first Transformers movie hit until, 2014. Because their hardcore sound was kind of gone now, and it was more of a commercial-friendly sound. Now, in my opinion, this all started with the What I've Done song for the first Transformers movie because it was completely different from anything that was off Hybrid Theory or Meteora and from Minutes to Midnight. Now, I do understand that bands want to experiment with sound and want to not give you the exact same sound over and over again because if that happens, they become mundane and boring and it's just not as interesting anymore. However, when you listen to Living Things and the Hunting Party albums, you can really hear that change in sound from a lot of the earlier works where it seems like they're more mellow for a more commercial sound. Also, don't get me wrong, I actually do like Burn It Down as a track, but a lot of the other tracks, not so much. Now, I would make a comment on the One More Light album and how that sound was completely different from anything else Linkin Park really had ever put together. However, now knowing the past events, we can kind of see why that album was made, and its meaning is something far greater than we could have imagined. So I have to give it a pass on this one. I have to. So my favorite song by Linkin Park. What's my favorite song? I have loads to pick from. I can pick In the End, One Step Closer, Paper Cut, Points of Authority, Crawling, Faint, Figure .9, go with Numb if I wanted to, Giving Up, Burn It Down, Bleed It Out. I go with any of those. However, there is one song that I think beats all of them, and that song is Somewhere I Belong. When it comes to Somewhere I Belong, I think it embodies everything that Linkin Park has. The rap rock style of Mike Shinoda, Chester Bennington singing at some points, and some of the screams. It just brings it all together. And also, Somewhere I Belong is a great song that can bring out emotion of any kind. If you want to use it for your workout playlist, it brings it out perfectly with those screams by Chester to really amp you up. If you're looking for a song that's going to put you more of a contemplation mood, make you really reflect on what's going on, that's where Shinoda's lyrics come in. And also, Chester Bennington's screams. When you're feeling emotional, you feel like contemplating, Chester Bennington, he's got you covered. When you put it all together, how the band sounds, Mike Shinoda's rap rock lyrics and style, Chester Bennington's singing style and screams, and that medium-paced hard rock song, I think you put it all together and that embodies what made Linkin Park absolutely fantastic. Alright, it's time to give Linkin Park our rating, and I give Linkin Park a 9 out of 10. Now, because I do feel like Linkin Park did sell out a little bit for that more commercial sound, I do have to give them a little bit of a knock for that. However, that might be the only knock I can really give them. Outside of the feeling that I think they sold out, their music styling, how they compose themselves, and their influence across the board maybe makes them one of the greatest influences and greatest bands of the new millennium since the year 2000 when they broke out with Hybrid Theory. Their sound, especially early on in my opinion, is utterly fantastic. And there will be no one, and I mean no one, that will ever come close to replicating or reproducing Chester Bennington's vocals and vocal pattern. He is one that stands alone, and it is just an utter tragedy that he was not on this earth longer. It really is, because we've missed out on some great things that he potentially could have accomplished in his life as it went on. Their mark on music will end up there with some of the greats, and I think we have to give that recognition. This is what we're doing here by giving that band a 9 out of 10. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube video band review on Linkin Park. If you have a suggestion on what bands we should review or what I should be doing with these videos, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to take a look at it. If you want to stay up to date with all our YouTube videos, hit that subscribe button and make sure you stay up to date with us. If you want to follow us on our various social media pages, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we've got links in the description below for you to click. Just follow us, and you'll be getting a lot more great content from My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today. Lastly, if you have an Amazon Alexa or Amazon Echo, and please, if you have one of those, we have a link to our Amazon Alexa skill in the description below, so click that on your phone, and it'll take you right to the Alexa app. You open up, add our skill to your skill set, and say, "Hey Alexa, play my song of the day," and every day we'll be giving you a brand new song. You can listen to it all day, as many times as you want, and the next day, we're just going to keep giving it to you. Alright, that's it for me. This is Kevin from My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today, and I'm saying, see ya!